So, however, here's a thought. About 18% of these apps right now are in the learning area. Language learning, literacy, numeracy. A lot of it's K-12, but there is some college stuff emerging. This is a big opportunity for colleges to make learning available anytime, anywhere. And 8% of all apps are developed by kids still in school or at college or university. So apps are going to be big. Apple have announced that their core strategy for the future is to make apps available on all of their devices. They see the business that they're in as making great hardware that runs apps that are great. And no wonder they make 30% on all the apps they sell, and they don't have to develop any of them. Think social networks. Facebook, 500 million users. 500 million users. Most of us have user groups, user networks of about 100 people. Many of us are starting to use those networks, particularly professional networks like LinkedIn.com, as a basis for sourcing new ideas and information. I'm working with a leadership team in a company right now who are working on a particular issue. There are 38 LinkedIn groups connected to that issue around the world, 50 million people. We posted a set of challenges to these 38 groups and had 116 responses in 5 hours. And we had a business solution to a core problem with support materials in 24 hours from reliable sources around the world, right? So I think these social networks are hugely powerful potential learning networks that we need to understand how we're going to use. A student graduating from this institution needs to know how to leverage social networks for more than thinking of having their legs waxed, you know, kind of stuff, which I wasn't, by the way. I had it done last week. They need to know how to use this stuff to leverage knowledge around the world. Think about how we know what's going on in Iran or Burma. This is how we know. Think about these networks as powerful sources of reliable information. Not all of it is right now, but think about what we can do to help our learners leverage these assets. Think about the web. Right now, we're not very good at using the web, but the web is getting more intelligent. So I do have strong connections to Google because University of Alberta has the International Centre for Machine Learning, and most of its grads go work in Google. So me being smart, teach there occasionally, so I'm connected to people who actually are inside the Google factory. And they have a prototype search engine which is intelligent. So I've been doing a lot of work in genomics recently, and as I start to look at issues in genomics, the engine that I'm using is this prototype from Google, knows what it is I'm looking at. It's been looking at my behavior and is intelligent enough now for me not to have to search, it just delivers. So I logged on this morning, I got 4 new things it wants me to think about, and 2 connections in a social network that I should be looking at to, if I want to take this issue further. Here are the people in the social network LinkedIn that I could be talking to about the stuff they've just delivered to me, and I've done nothing, I've just turned the machine on. So this is intelligent agents doing my work on my behalf. Think about that as a curriculum construction device. So you want to offer an advanced diploma for nurse practitioners. You want to look at the best practices in dealing with whatever the issue is in your discipline. The engine that I'm using could actually create that curriculum with you doing very little, enabling you to do a lot more work that really matters, which is making and building relationships with students that count. So moving from instructor to coach, guide, and mentor, which is the job. So I mentioned digital textbooks growing very fast. California State has said in its K-12 system they're not going to buy textbooks as physical things from 2015. No textbooks will be bought by the school system. Alberta's considering exactly the same thing. New Brunswick is pretty well there. So lots of jurisdictions are saying, actually, it's not good environmentally. It's bad for your pulp industry, by the way, this. But digital textbook create more opportunities for flexible learning, and that's what we need to be thinking about. Big business emerging. One of the rules at Athabasca in the MBA program is no textbooks. So everything that we source for our student has to be available online, or we have to make it available to them digitally. It's a very simple rule, but it creates a fantastic discipline for us. It stops us saying, read chapter 15, because if it's not available digitally, you can't. And actually, if chapter 15 isn't exactly what you want, rewrite it and put it in your digital textbook. So that's one set of things. There's a big technology thing going on, and there's a shift in what we think about as learning skills for this century. So mobile learning is getting really big. Lots of colleges, universities offering mobile learning. Example, trades program, construction trades. High Level is a kind of strange little place in the middle of nowhere in Alberta. It's more expensive to get from Edmonton to High Level than it is to get from Edmonton to Paris. It's actually nicer when you get to Paris too, just so you know, in case you were wondering where to go on vacation. Don't go to High Level. But there's a kind of small outpost of NATE there, but it only operates one program, and that's not construction. Construction's a big business. So everybody who wants to do construction has to leave the community, and once they do that, they don't come back. So the mayor and others got together with NATE, which has a huge apprenticeship program, and said, what can we do? And using mobile learning, they've actually developed most of the curriculum to be done either online or with short bursts of experience at the campus, and then you're back in the community under supervision using cameras and mobile learning and mentors from across the province. So, you know, it's a device. My smartphone can do video conferencing. So, and the iPad next generation will enable you to set it up on a tripod, and rather than film this great presentation, you can film me trying to put in a window into this construction under supervision by somebody. Don't do that. You know, put that hammer down first. It's glass you're dealing with, you know, that kind of stuff. Well, you've taught these people. Right? So I think we're going to see all sorts of things coming up here. Very strong focus on mobile learning and trades in Ontario colleges. Georgian, for example, is looking at automotive trades and what they can do with mobile learning here. Your students need to be constantly connected. So if you go into most schools in this country, there's a big sign at the door saying, please turn off your phone. And if you're a student, hand in your phone. So actually, another way of saying this is, stop trying to find out things. Don't you dare access intelligent people elsewhere. If we catch you thinking through your phone, well, you won't believe what we're going to do to you. So, you know, get real. I mean, think about how to leverage it. Think about developing the skill of using your technologies smartly to aid your learning. And don't be afraid when the student says, excuse me, you're saying this is best practice? Could you explain why the Mayo Clinic and these others say it isn't, but it used to be? You know, that's great teaching moment there. Think about personalizing learning. Think about what we can do with technology to personalize learning, to make it real for me, to make it meaningful for me. And one of the things that technology enables is to do differentiated teaching in the classroom. So how can I take a class like this and say, well, you guys seem to be getting it, but I'm not sure about you guys over here. So you guys work on this project that I'm going to set up now, and I put it on the web earlier. It's available to you on your smartphone, and I'll go work with these for a while, and I'll come back to you in 10 minutes. We can do things differently in the classroom by leveraging technology differently. Stop thinking about learners as just consumers. Think of them about learners as producers. So I mentioned that 8% of all apps on the iPhone and iPad are developed by kids still in school. What else are they doing? Well, the biggest developers of blogs, digital newspapers, Twitter newspapers are your students. They're the exact generation that are producing movies in YouTube as digital serials. There's a group of kids in a high school in Edmonton that I've been working with who are producing a series of TV shows based on a drama that the kids in the drama class are developing. And it's all on YouTube, and it's watched by something like 400,000 people every week, which is more than most CBC programs get, with no funding from. So what are you doing to enable every student in your class to be an effective producer of resources that are valuable online, digitally, film, audio, visual, dance, whatever it may be? You have a physical facility here, and we have somebody that spends their life thinking about physical facilities in the room. And that's great, and physical facilities are not unimportant. The problem with them is they become like, this is where we do learning. No, it isn't. This is one of the places you do learning. So you're a community college, right? Community. So what's the learning that you're enabling out there? So you have a great restaurant catering program. What are you doing for the continuing professional education of those people in their kitchens? What credit for work-based learning are you giving in every program in this institution? Work-based learning is something Canadians and North Americans shy away from. But, you know, take the retail sector, which is a huge sector in this town. What credit are you given for the training that the Bay, which has actually got a huge training program, what credit do they get for going through that training program in your hospitality work or in your tourism work or in some of the things you do, and why not? Hotel trade, big business in town. What work-based learning credit can you give that group of people? Why are you thinking about learning as something you do here? Well, part of it is the funding formula, so change that. Part of it is, we have this building, what can we do with it? Stop that thinking. Part of it is, well, if I do that, then I'm, you know, we're giving credit and I'm not going to earn anything. You're going to build a business. So stop thinking about boundaries, think about access as everywhere, anytime learning. I think the implications of everything I've said to this point are these. This form of instruction is still useful, but not the core business. To use a research language for a moment, there's a constructivist curriculum developing in which projects become the core for everything that you do. So rather than teaching the syllabus through the text, we're on page 52 of chapter 9. I went to teach a PhD program at Purdue. And the first question I was asked by these 17 PhD students is, excuse me, welcome, what page are we going to be on today? I said, 712. And they said, but it only goes up to 365. I said, yeah, I'm still writing, you know, I mean, this is a doctoral program, wake up. So, you know, we're not here to feed people, we're here to experience learning and to engage people in learning. Now, there's a problem with this notion. In your classrooms, you have 5 kinds of students. You have that highly engaged student. Oh, can't wait to get there. And what have we got for me today? Oh, isn't this fantastic? You may have one of these. Yeah. Or you may have seen one of these. Right. Yeah. Yeah. More likely, you have the tactically engaged student. Like, they look as if they're engaged and know how to look good being engaged, but they're only doing it at a certain level. The minute you walk out of the room, they're done being engaged. Yeah, we're divorced now. Third group is the conformist student. They do exactly what you ask them to do and not a millisecond more. Then we have the disengaged student, and then we have the bloody nuisance. Technical term. So those are the 5 groups you have in the room. Your task, should you choose to accept it, is to get more people in the first 2 categories.